Tesla.
Thomas was driving a rented Model X in Houston, Texas, when an elderly driver ran a stop sign and T-boned the Tesla's driver's side. Thomas jumped out and made sure the other driver was fine. Thankfully, nobody had been hurt. All the Tesla's airbags deployed. Thomas told us this is actually his third accident just this year. That might explain why he was driving a rental. Police responded and they immediately found the other driver at fault. After watching the Teslacam footage, they said it made their investigation extremely simple by confirming their theory about what had happened. Sadly, the vehicle shut down after they'd viewed the footage, and only the left camera angle was saved to Thomas's hard drive. He hopes to find the other angles stored on the car's computer once it's been repaired. The Tesla is currently in the shop getting fixed. Can you guess the total cost of repair? Let us know in a comment, and whoever guesses the closest to the correct amount will win a Wham Bam hoodie. Pierre was driving his Model X home after dinner with his wife in Madison, Wisconsin, when they suddenly heard a loud bang to their right. That's when Pierre noticed a car had run into a utility pole. It seems like the driver might have been distracted. Because of where the collision had occurred, they weren't able to go back and see if everyone was okay. As Larry approached a traffic light, he could see a line of oncoming cars turning in front of him. Evidently, they had a left turn arrow, but watch what happened when his light turned green and he proceeded into the intersection. Don't blink or you'll miss it. Several cars continued turning in front of Larry, and the last one in line slammed into the front of his Tesla. All of his airbags deployed. Larry's wife was taken by ambulance to a hospital emergency room after complaining about pain in her foot, but she ended up leaving after it was determined she had no major injuries. Nobody else was hurt in the collision. A highway patrol officer recorded Larry's Teslacam footage with his phone and said it was obvious who was at fault. The Tesla was totaled, but the other guy's insurance provider paid him for it, and Larry was able to buy a new Model 3 a month later. Robbie was on his way to work when 7 drivers ran a red left turn light. The last one was a Tesla Model Y, which made a very interesting move into traffic. I think we'll have to roll the jingle for this one. What was that driver even doing?
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Carl was borrowing his parents' Tesla to take their dogs for a walk when he witnessed a white Holden Commodore turn into the path of an oncoming van. The van driver from Flex Tiling had some insane reflexes and prevented a much more serious collision from occurring. This intersection is very dangerous at the best of times, with poor visibility to the left as you're on a hill. Carl managed to contact the van driver and they seemed shaken up but thankful for a copy of his Teslacam video. Hey Carl, we know the Tesla is a comfortable ride, but aren't you supposed to, walk when taking the dogs for a walk? Max and Hazel were sitting at a red light in Harriman, Utah when a man drove by in a convertible. Yeah, I'm not sure that was a good idea, but as someone on Twitter pointed out, Tony Stark did the same thing in his Audi R8. As a student who commutes from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles, Derek regularly charges his Model S on campus. One day after class, he returned to his car to find a parking ticket on his windshield. The citation stated he hadn't been charging while plugged into the station. When he checked his parking account, he discovered 2 citations totaling $160, along with photos of his car charging, including the charging station screen confirming that charging was active. Sentry Mode footage revealed that the security officer arrived at 2:40 p.m. and spent 5 minutes checking the charging station to determine who to cite. Interestingly, they chose to cite Derek's Tesla, which was charging, but not the non-disabled ICE car parked in the disabled EV spot next to him. Derek submitted an appeal with his Teslafy charging log, his ChargePoint receipt, and his Sentry Mode footage as evidence. After waiting for around 20 days, the citations were converted to warnings and the fines were removed. Derek is left wondering why he still got warnings, especially given the mountain of evidence he provided. I'm fairly sure Derek holds the record for the most featured submitter here on Wham Bam Teslacam, as this is his 6th video to be featured. You lead a dangerous life, Derek. Your Tesla seems like a magnet for chaos. Zach's girlfriend Kim was driving his Model 3 to class at Onondaga Community College when a BMW driver ran a stop sign to turn left into a parking lot, crashing into his Tesla. The other driver immediately admitted fault and said she wasn't paying attention. A police report was created after cops responded to the scene. The Teslacam footage was sent to the other driver's insurance provider, and they accepted full liability. It took 2 weeks to get the car into a repair shop, and the repairs themselves will take about a month. The total cost of repairs is $13,000, but that doesn't include replacing the paint protection film. Zach wanted to shout out his girlfriend Kim, who did everything right, including saving the footage so he could send it to Wham Bam Teslacam. Santosh was driving home after a date when he stopped at an intersection to wait for the light to turn green. The driver behind him stopped, but Santosh thinks he might have been looking at his phone. When the semi-truck beside them started moving, so did the driver behind Santosh, and he ran straight into the back of his Tesla. Santosh made an insurance claim, and the process was smooth. It cost a whopping $7,771 to fix 2 small dents in the trunk lid and a few scratches on the rear bumper cover. Yahir was sitting in a drive-thru. After waiting in line for 45 minutes, instead of being given his food, he received a Honda bump.
You've been Honda bumped!
The trunk lid was pretty badly dented. Sadly, the Honda cut through the clear coat and the paint, so it'll have to be repainted. Yahir said, "Don't go to a Yoshinoya drive-thru, and if you see a Honda in your rear camera, drive forward." Vinny was driving down a highway when the car ahead of him ran over a 2x4, sending it flying toward him. He quickly swerved to avoid it, but it still put a chip in his rim. He told us autopilot wasn't engaged, so he was the one who made the evasive maneuver. Vinny told us he was very lucky. The board could have caused a lot more damage or even gone into the windshield. Let's take a second to appreciate the high quality of this submission. This is the first clip we've received featuring the new Hardware 4 cameras on a Model X. What an improvement! The submitter Sabu was sitting behind a Subaru when an Acura TL driver ran a red light and collided head-on with a Lexus ES. The high-res video was provided to the police to help their investigation, and they really appreciated the footage. Dina was driving home in her Model Y when a semi-truck drove by before one of its tires exploded, sending a chunk of rubber toward Dina's Tesla. Dina was able to maneuver into the right lane, which allowed her to avoid the piece of tire. Evidently, the trucker didn't even realize what had happened. Dina had to take her exit to get home, but she noticed other drivers signaling the trucker, and he eventually pulled over. It was a very stressful situation for Dina, but she's glad she'd been alert and able to react to the situation, and that her car wasn't harmed. During the Dallas area snowpocalypse, Scott was asked by a friend who'd left town to go set their faucets dripping to prevent their pipes from freezing, and he agreed. When Scott parked in their sloped driveway, it occurred to him that this might not be a good idea because the Tesla might slide downhill. Scott shut the door and rocked the car, but he saw no movement, so he thought it would be fine for 2 minutes while he went inside the house. He proceeded to go inside and set the faucets to drip as requested. He finished setting the faucets and sent a text to his friend letting him know the job was done. As he was putting his phone back in his pocket, he heard his car alarm activate as he got a notification that Sentry Mode had been triggered. When he came outside, he found his lovely new Tesla in the creek behind the house just before his wife texted him to ask why their car alarm was going off. Check out this footage of Scott jumping after his car. Thankfully, it was okay. What's the takeaway? Don't doubt your vibe. Shane was driving in Auckland, New Zealand when the driver of a Mitsubishi Outlander obeyed the road markings. Seriously, he literally followed the road markings exactly and turned right at the arrow, jumping the median in the process. Let's see if you can be that precise when you follow this arrow to the subscribe button. Okay, time to find out how much it costs to fix Thomas's rented Model X. Are you sitting down? The total repair bill came to $34,000 US. How close did you get? Want to win a Wham Bam hoodie? We're giving one away every week for 10 weeks. To enter, send a video in to our newest channel, Wham Bam Security Cam. If your video is used in an episode, you'll be entered in the giveaway. Then, make sure you're subscribed to Wham Bam Security Cam so you'll know if you win. Good luck!